After last year's election, politically divided families cut their Thanksgiving celebration short by 20 to 30 minutes.
And in a new poll says that 31% of people intend to avoid talking politics this year during the holidays. 21% will engage even if they know there's some disagreement on the issues.
So what can you do to avoid infighting at the Thanksgiving table? Here to give us some great advice, Dr. Jennifer Caudle, family physician and assistant professor at Rowan University. So listen, this is really interesting to me. My husband's a Republican politician. His family is a family of Democrats. So the car says
so
Bernie
you know firsthand.
Oh yeah, the bumper sticker says Bernie Sanders and Sean Duffy.
Well, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of families heading home for Thanksgiving this year, maybe bracing themselves, because there are a lot of families that are politically divided.
Sure.
I have family and friends myself, and I think they're kind of wondering what's it going to be like.
Yeah. Well, so do you avoid it altogether, or do you try to have the conversation and set some boundaries?
So I think that for some families, I'll be very honest with you, I think some families should just say no politics at all.
Oh, I thought you were going to say don't get together.
Oh, no.
Well, that's an option too.
No. This is Thanksgiving, so no, we want everyone to get together, and that's the point, right? This is Thanksgiving. We're talking about food and fellowship and family and friends and love. So the idea is to have a wonderful experience. Some families, though, and you know who you are. I'm talking to y'all. You know you shouldn't be talking politics, but I do think there's a lot of families who can talk politics and get through it and be okay. And I think the biggest thing is having a lot of respect for one another and coming at it, approaching the political discussion from a point of understanding. This is not about bullying or badgering. It's about understanding how your family members think.
Could you even have fun with it? Maybe like set some ground rules and have a moderator.
Yes.
And you got crazy Uncle Joe over here and crazy Aunt Jan over here, and there are different sides of the spectrum, and it could almost be entertaining.
It could almost be entertaining, and I like the idea of ground rules. And you know, for some families, they may say, okay, no politics except for at dessert. Maybe they have a time limit. Maybe they say, okay, we can talk politics, but we're not talking about this issue or this issue. And maybe you do have a moderator, somebody that steps in and you know, bangs the gavel and says, okay, enough.
I had a great, when I was reading through this, like I said, I love this topic. Yeah. I thought, what if everybody was wearing sort of like one of those pilgrim hats or caps? And so then it's really hard to take that conversation really seriously if you're kind of in that.
Make yourself look goofy?
Yeah, make yourself look goofy. I don't know.
Well,
the other thing I found interesting was it said 25% of families prefer to talk about family gossip instead of, which I thought that always brings everyone together, right?
That's actually a good distraction, because I say if you need to get out of a political conversation, one way to do it is to redirect. So we're talking sports, we're talking pets, children, maybe some family gossip. I don't know. That will change the topic pretty quickly,
but
I think.
Even if you're talking sports at this point, what if then crazy Uncle Joe goes, well, hope nobody kneels, and then it starts the whole conversation.
Well, let's see, this is the other thing too, and I'll say this also about families. You know, Thanksgiving and the holidays is often a time where people bring maybe new people into the family, right? Loved ones, new relationships, things like that. And I also say that if you know you come from a very politically charged family and it's going to come up, and maybe you're the family that loves to just box it out at the table, let your loved ones know before they get to your house, you know, because it's really a big thing.
Give us some tips on how we can keep the spirit of Thanksgiving, like how we can set the tone to make sure it doesn't just immediately devolve.
Doesn't derail, and people don't like leave 20 to 30 minutes early. I actually heard of a girlfriend of mine, actually, she ate her dinner up in her bedroom because she couldn't stand being in the living room and being at the dining room table. This stuff really happens, people.
You make such a great point. If you're a newcomer to the family, like maybe just take a little bit of time to figure out how the family you're going into does business, as opposed to coming in guns blazing.
For not only what you bring, but also to understand what you're going to be walking into. Sure. But I think the biggest thing you asked about, like how do we keep the spirit of Thanksgiving, that's the biggest thing, is remembering the spirit of Thanksgiving. Yeah. This is the time. You do not want Uncle Joe walking home because he's pissed off. Yeah. You do not want your children eating their dinner in the living room or elsewhere. Yeah. You want the spirit of Thanksgiving. So it's about really making a good time for all.
Great stuff. Dr. Jennifer Caudle, thank you very much for your thoughts this morning. And have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.